It's the Telephone Hour, presenting Joseph Hoffmann. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome again to the Telephone Hour. Our guest soloist tonight, appearing with Donald Voorhees and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, is Joseph Hoffmann, who returns for his second appearance at these concerts. Mr. Hoffmann will be heard in a program of masterpieces familiar to music lovers everywhere and dear to the hearts of all pianists. But first we hear from the orchestra in the spirited overture to Reznicek's comic opera Donna Diana. turn now to our soloist of the evening, Joseph Hoffmann, who will play as his opening group three beautiful and popular piano pieces by his compatriot Frédéric Chopin. There's an affinity between the music of Chopin and the playing of our artist. Both are distinguished by a combination of grace, brilliance, and poetry, which seems to be characteristic of the Polish temperament. Therefore, it's an event of special significance when Mr. Hoffmann plays, as he does now, some of Chopin's celebrated works. We hear first the lovely and familiar Nocturne in F sharp. Joseph Hoffmann. For his second Chopin piece, Joseph Hoffmann brings us the spirited Grande Valse Brillante in E-flat. Mr. Hoffmann. now Chopin's charming Minute Waltz. Joseph Hoffmann. As an encore, Joseph Hoffmann plays a dainty little piece by Liadoff, his musical snuff box. Mr. Hoffmann.
From time to time, we've told you about the war job telephone people are doing. And tonight we'd like to tell you a little about some of the girls who've really been right in the thick of it here at home. A year or so ago, the Army was looking around for a suitable spot to train men in the use of anti-tank guns. They finally picked a big tract of land, 230-odd thousand acres in the Southwest. It was hilly here and rocky there. It was muddy, sandy patched with timber and cut with rivers. When the time came to get telephone operators, they called them in from all around, but there were never as many as were needed. The girls lived in barracks right in the post. They came in the late summer, and in the fall, a norther hit the place. The temperature dropped as much as 70 degrees, and there was no heat in the building where they lived. The job was certainly no bed of rocks for those girls, nor for these either, that another telephone man tells about. Down in my part of the country, he says, there were several hundred telephone girls working in Army camps. They traveled on crowded buses to and from work. They lived and ate under difficult conditions. They not only stuck to their jobs, there was practically no absenteeism, and war bond subscriptions were high. Well, here are two cases where telephone operators were getting a taste of war on the home front. But the job they're doing really isn't much different from what all telephone operators are doing these days. They're all doing war jobs, 175,000 of them in the Bell system alone, handling a flood of telephone calls that has been growing by leaps and bounds as the tempo of war increases. Your cooperation in the thoughtful use of your telephone is more and more essential every day to keep war calls moving along smoothly. If you will make only necessary long-distance calls to war-busy centers, if you will limit your calls to 5 minutes or less when the long-distance operator suggests it on busy routes, or cancel it if it is not too important, if you'll try to give the boys in camp first call on the wires during the evening hours when they are off duty, you'll really be helping in an important war activity. And help of this kind is very much appreciated.
Now, Mr. Hoffmann joins with Donald Voorhees and the Bell Telephone Orchestra to play the last movement of Beethoven's Concerto No. 5 in E-flat, the so-called Emperor Concerto. How the work got its nickname is not known, although the majestic title seems to fit the last movement, a rondo of noble proportions and splendid vigor. Joseph Hoffmann and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, under the direction of Donald Voorhees, now play the final movement of Beethoven's Emperor Concerto. Thank you, Joseph Hoffmann. Next Monday evening at the same time, our guest will be Gladys Swarthout. And on succeeding Mondays, you will hear Grace Moore, Yasha Heifetz, and Nelson Eddy. Until next week, then, for music you like to hear with Gladys Swarthout, Donald Voorhees, and the Bell Telephone Orchestra, we remain sincerely yours, the Bell Telephone System.